Chag Sameach, everyone. I have a great little book today to share with you. This is what I promised you about the Z's and the Hanukkah miracle. I have another little surprise for you in just a moment, but first let's get into our story. Are you ready? Is everyone sitting down? Oh, you are. I see you right. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Now let's be quiet for a moment and let Sister be able to hear as well. All right. So what we see is that since the beginning of time, animals have felt sad at summer's end. And when night comes, it says that, night comes earlier and earlier, that they get really sad. Now, have you noticed that in the summertime, the sun seems like it stays in the sky for a long, long time, and you have a long time to play outside. But what happens in the wintertime? The sun begins to go down really early, and by the time you get home from school and have your dinner, the sun is almost down. And that's what's happening with all the animals. It was getting darker and darker, earlier and earlier every day. So then we see that no one is sadder than the Z's, with this gigantic yellow bird with his huge red wings and purple forehead, who lived on the top of a mountain. When the days were short and the Z's didn't feel very sleepy at sunset, even worse, the Z's could see that everything was so dark he couldn't even see to fix his dinner. Oh no, so he's running around in the kitchen and he couldn't find things. He says that he couldn't even tell if he was picking up a cucumber or an ear of corn. And he says, yuck, the Z's grumbled, I hate cucumbers. Silly bird. So it says that this little top knot that he had on there was kind of purple and fluffy, and it kind of looked like this. So there it is. This is what his little top knot looked like. Can you imagine a big bird and he's got this little top knot going like this as he's flying around? I think that would be kind of funny, right? So anyway, it says he decided that he needed light in the evenings. But where could he get light? He says, I know, and he flapped his wings and danced around. He loved coming up with great ideas. I'll get some fireflies, he said. Fireflies? Well, the Z flew to a warm, wet place, and he chased fireflies in the net. See, oh my goodness. And he says, and when he got them back to the nest, they wouldn't glow. There they are in his big net, kind of like catching butterflies or something, right? And he says, what's wrong? He cried out to them. And the little firefly says, we don't like being squished together in this net. Let us out and we'll share our light. Now that's a great idea. They wanted to share, or so they said. Well, he says, that sounds fair. So he opened the net and all the fireflies flew out. Wait, he called. The fireflies were gone. Oh, so now he needed another idea. Have you ever seen a firefly? Those little fireflies are always around our yard late in the evening in the summertime. And they're so cute, little lights flashing, going out, blinking. Oh, so much fun. And he says, I know, he says, I'll get some lanternfish. They can't fly away. So the next night he stood in the ocean with those long, tall legs of his, and it was funny because the ocean water only came up to his knees. So you see, he was really a giant bird. And then it says that as soon as he saw the bright lights of the lanternfish that night, he scooped them up in a pot and he said to them, give me some light. He's not being very nice, is he? He didn't even say please. He just demanded it. And they said, no, the lanternfish said, we don't like it in here in this pot. The Z's begged for hours, but the fish refused. They didn't want to share their light. He needed another idea. I wonder if they would have shared their light if he would have been kinder and even said, please. I wonder. So he said, I've got an idea. There's a full moon, and it's out there in the clouds. And then all of a sudden, it kind of disappeared, and then it came out again. He's like, yes, that's a big moon. And if I can get that moon, I'll have plenty of light. So he flew up there with a rope, and he lassoed the moon, and he's tried to fly away with it, and the moon wouldn't even budge. He was a big bird, all right, but he wasn't big enough to move that moon. He was very discouraged, and he had done everything he could on his own, but it was time to ask God for help. So what did he do? The next day, the Z's flew to Mount Sinai, the special place where he always talked to God. I can't see to eat my dinner, the Z's complained to God. You're right, God's big voice rumbled through the clouds. The days are short this time of year. Will you fix it? No, God said firmly, but I can make it easier to bear. A bolt of lightning hit the ground, and the Z's turned around to see a lamp filled with oil. So HaShem miraculously gave him a lamp, and it was full of oil. And the Z says, what is this? And God said, take it home and see. He had to have faith, didn't he? So he grabs the lamp with his big, beautiful feet, and he flies away to his house. So every evening the oil lamp burned brightly, and the Z's could see to eat his dinner and fluff up his bed in his nest, and he could even read himself a bedtime scroll. Light, light, a flicker, a flame, or a spark. It makes my heart happy in the dark. The Z's watched the lovely flame for hours, singing and smiling, but he wasn't the only one. There were raccoons and foxes and hedgehogs, rabbits and owls and other little animals, creeping closer and closer each night. They needed some light. They needed something to brighten up their dark hours as well. And so everyone was enjoying the light. And there they are. You can see their little eyes peeping through the darkness as they're all looking and enjoying the light. And then the Z says, no, I don't want you to enjoy my light. It's mine, it's mine. And the Z was very upset. Why would he be upset? Well, he couldn't even sleep. He was so upset. So in the morning, he grabbed his lamp, his light, and he took off to find another place to live. Oh my, he's not being very nice, is he? So then what happened? Well, he flew over the mountains, and he flew over the trees, and he flew over valleys, and he flew over the seas. Oh my goodness. And in the afternoon, the Z stopped to rest at a magnificent stone building. It was magnificent. And then he says, I'm going to see what these two men are doing over here. They're talking about something. So he snuck up closer to listen. The war is over, one said, and the holy temple has been scrubbed and cleaned from top to bottom. Now it's time for the rededication. Let us light the menorah and celebrate. But Judah Maccabee, said to the other man, but we only have enough oil to last one day. How long will it take to make more? Judah asked. 8 whole days. We can't wait that long, Judah declared. The menorah must be lit now. The other man walked back inside, and Judah Maccabee sat down on the stone steps and put his head in his hands. Oh, he was so sad. The Z's watched, and he was feeling sad too. Did God know about this? The Z's flew off to Mount Sinai again, carrying his lamp with him. And then, guess what? The Z's poked his purple feather head into the heavens. Just like that, he poked his head up in there in the heavens, up in the clouds, and he says, HaShem, there's a man named Judah Maccabee at your holy temple, and he needs oil for your menorah. You don't have to tell me, God answered. I know everything. Well, are you going to help him? No, God said. You are. Me? What can I do to help? He was so shocked, and he shook his purple forehead. He was shaking it. He says, I'm confused, God. I don't understand. What can I do? What can I do? Well, God sighed and said, well, don't you have any ideas? And then the Z says, no, I don't know. And he's flopping up and down. I don't know what to do. That's why I'm asking you. Well, God was silent for a few moments, and he says, well, have you thought about sharing? You've got a light there that I gave you. Have you thought about sharing? He says, the oil in your lamp could help them light the menorah. No, I want my light. It's mine, it's mine. Oh, boy. The Z's flew away from Mount Sinai without even saying goodbye. He had never disobeyed God before, but God had never asked him to do anything so hard. It's mine, it's mine, he began to cry. The Z's was crying so much he couldn't see in the dark. He was headed straight to the holy temple and about to crash into the ceiling. But just at the last second, the Z saw the 7-branched menorah. It was shining through the open door. Ooh, he swerved and he hit the temple steps and said, the Z's tiptoed to the front door and he watched the light dancing in the temple walls. It was so beautiful. Oh, it's pretty, 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 he cooed. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Yes, it is, a small squeaky voice said. The Z's bent down with his long neck and he looked. There was a whole family of mice standing right there in the temple door, and they were enjoying the menorah. Their faces were happy until the light, suddenly began to sputter and fade, and it was getting dimmer and dimmer. What's happening? The baby mouse cried. He was so frightened. Father Mouse shook his head. The menorah is running out of oil. Oh no, the Z said. He picked up his beautiful lamp and he looked at it sadly. Who can help? This baby mouse asked. Who can help? I can, the Z said. And he tried to walk through the temple door, but what happened? He bumped his head on the ceiling. He said, I'm so sorry, but I can't come in. Who can help? I can help, said the baby mouse. I can. So the Z's was so big, but the little mouse says, we'll take it in for you. Oh, that's a great idea. So together the mouse family dragged the oil lamp up to the menorah, and then the great old owl took the lamp and he began to flap. The Z was flapping his wings and getting so excited. He knew what was getting ready to happen. It was so, so exciting. And then he put the oil in the lamp, and everyone was so excited. It was the most beautiful light ever. It was bigger and brighter than ever. For 8 nights, the mouse family helped the Z's share the oil with the Maccabees. Wow, look at that. Wow, look how beautiful it was. Look how big the menorah was there in the temple. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it says on the 9th day, Judah rushed up to the temple steps. Oh, goodness, and he brought this big jar of oil. See the oil? It was filled with oil now because it took him 8 days to make all the new oil. And when he got to the temple, he was so amazed. He says, it's been burning for 8 days and 8 nights, but there was only enough oil for one. This is truly a miracle. So God had given them a miracle. And the Z's picked up his little lamp and he flew back to his nest. All day he was moping around the mountaintop. What would he do when it got dark? There was only a little bit of oil left in his lamp. You know, he still hadn't learned his lesson, had he? He hadn't understood that God is the one that gives us all these good things, and it's always a miracle. Anything God does for us is miraculous, isn't it? It says, but at sunset, the Z's had a surprise. His lamp was brighter than ever. The Z's could see to make his dinner. He could fluff his bed and read his scroll. Look at him in his big old bed. Look at that, with his big pillow and everything. Oh my goodness. And he's laying there with his big old legs flopped over the end of the bed. And he's reading the scrolls to all of his friends. Look at that. All of his friends are there. It says at that night, guess what happens? The hedgehog, the fox, the raccoon, and all the little animals tiptoed up to his bed, and the Z's invited them, said, come on in, come on closer. And together they watched the lovely flame dancing in the darkness. And they all began to sing, light, light, a flicker, a flame, a spark, makes my heart happy in the dark. The end. Wow. That is the Z's and his Hanukkah miracle. And we'll always remember his beautiful top knot on the top of his head. Wow, so magnificent. Well, thank you again for joining me. Tomorrow evening, we'll have another story and another surprise guest for you. So I hope you'll join me. Now, tonight, you will be lighting your 5th candle for tonight. So Baruch HaShem, and so tonight, please enjoy this and be sure and play your dreidel game. and may you win some more Hanukkah gelt, right? Until then, Hag Hanukkah Sameach.